A sudden, violent meteorological event triggered catastrophic flash flooding across portions of East Tennessee, resulting in at least one confirmed fatality, dozens of dramatic high-water rescues, and severe infrastructure damage. The hardest-hit region, northwest Cocke County, was placed under an immediate emergency footing after torrential downpours and mountain runoff rapidly transformed small creeks, tranquil streams, and low-lying roads into raging rivers of debris-laden water. Local authorities, state agencies, and emergency first responders worked frantically throughout the day to pull families from inundated vehicles and submerged homes. As the water slowly receded late Thursday afternoon, communities were left to grapple with extensive property damage, blocked transport arteries, and the profound grief of losing a local resident. The most devastating consequence of the flash flood event was the confirmed death of a 64-year-old woman in Cocke County. According to preliminary reports released by Cocke County Sheriff C.J. The victim became trapped by rapidly rising floodwaters outside her home as the deluge peaked. Despite the prompt dispatch of emergency assets, the swiftness and raw power of the water overran the area, making immediate extraction impossible. The identity of the deceased has been withheld pending formal notification of extended family members. Federal weather statistics indicate that this tragedy marks the 24th weather-related fatality in East Tennessee over the last decade. Crucially, it stands as the first flood-related casualty in Cocke County since the historic and widespread devastation wrought by Hurricane Helene, which claimed 2 lives locally. Obviously, that is the worst thing you can imagine happening, the loss of human life, Cocke County Mayor Rob Mathis stated during a press briefing at the designated emergency operations zone. Everything else we lost out here can be replaced. Vehicles, asphalt, bridges, they can all be rebuilt, but people cannot. Our hearts break for the family, and we are throwing every single resource we have into making sure no more lives are lost in the coming days. The suddenness of the disaster caught many off guard, primarily because major regional rivers did not exhibit the typical warning signs of overflowing. Meteorologists from the National Weather Service, NWS, in Morristown, confirmed that a localized training effect occurred overnight. Strong storms repeatedly redeveloped and passed over the exact same mountainous coordinates, dropping a staggering 3 to 5 inches of rainfall within a span of just a few hours. Mayor Rob Mathis clarified that the structural nature of this flood diverged significantly from past disasters. While Hurricane Helene caused regional rivers like the Nolichucky and French Broad to burst their banks, this particular event was entirely driven by smaller waterways. This hit localized areas that actually managed to escape flooding during Helene, Mathis explained. The crisis didn't stem from our main river systems. Instead, the persistent, heavy mountain rain generated massive amounts of rapid runoff. All of that water rushed down the hillside simultaneously, instantly overwhelming smaller creeks, drainage ditches, and minor tributaries. This rapid concentration of mountain runoff left residents living near smaller waterways with mere minutes to react as water levels surged exponentially. The flash flood concentrated its fury on the northwestern quadrant of Cocke County, with several communities bearing the brunt of the property damage. Residents in downtown Parrottsville witnessed roads transforming into muddy channels. Multiple homes were completely surrounded by water, and personal vehicles parked in driveways were submerged up to their dashboards or carried away by the current. The rural community of Bybee suffered widespread structural impact. Debris from broken trees, dislodged storage sheds, and agricultural runoff piled against residential structures, trapping citizens indoors and tearing up private property. Located in a valley setting, this area experienced intense, concentrated surges of water that washed out driveways, compromised residential foundations, and cut off access to the main roads. Local business owners and homeowners described a scene of pure shock. "I was planning on fixing 3 or 4 of my old trucks out in the yard, and they are just completely gone or ruined," said local resident Brunt. "It's incredibly unfortunate, and looking at the yard is heartbreaking. But despite all this damage, I am just deeply grateful that my family and my immediate neighbors managed to get out safely.
Oh my God, it's up on my
As
back.
emergency dispatch lines lit up with desperate calls from stranded motorists and homeowners,
Oh my God.
the Cocke County Sheriff's Office, local fire departments, and state rescue teams mobilized immediately. Sheriff C.J. reported that first responders faced treacherous conditions as they waded directly into chest-deep, fast-moving floodwaters to reach trapped individuals. Rescue teams utilized an array of specialized equipment, including high-water transport trucks. Heavy-duty elevated military-style vehicles were deployed to navigate submerged roads and evacuate entire families from flooded neighborhoods. In areas where currents were too swift for vehicles, responders launched motorized boats to pull people out of flooded houses and stranded cars. The Tennessee Highway Patrol provided crucial aerial overviews, tracking the movement of the floodwaters and identifying isolated structures that required immediate ground intervention. The bulk of the high water extractions were successfully completed by Thursday afternoon as the NWS flash flood warnings expired. To streamline operations, an incident command post was established at the Cocke County Fairgrounds. This site served as a central hub where local crews, state emergency management personnel, and mutual aid teams from neighboring counties converged to coordinate food, shelter, and medical distribution. The sheer volume of water caused severe disruptions to local and regional transit networks, rendering numerous pathways completely impassable. State transportation officials rushed to assess the structural integrity of bridges and asphalt beds that had been subjected to hours of intense hydraulic pressure. The Tennessee Department of Transportation, TDOT, has deployed heavy machinery, including bulldozers and sweepers, to clear debris from major thoroughfares. However, officials emphasize that full restoration of local roads will take time, as teams must inspect underlying support structures for hidden washouts and hollows created by the torrents. By late Thursday evening, emergency management teams transitioned from active water rescue operations into a comprehensive recovery and assessment phase. While the immediate threat of rising water has diminished, the community faces a protracted cleanup effort. County officials have emphasized that despite the stabilization of the weather, a major lingering problem stems from human behavior on the roadways. Most of our major emergency rescues are resolved, but our crews are still being pulled away to respond to reckless drivers, noted emergency management coordinators. People are consistently trying to drive through clearly flooded pavements or bypass local roadblocks, which creates entirely preventable emergencies and stretches our personnel thin. Volunteers and local charity networks are already mobilizing at local churches and community centers to distribute clean water, non-perishable food, and cleanup supplies to families whose homes were inundated. Mayor Mathis reiterated that the county is working in lockstep with state agencies to secure emergency funding and logistical aid to fast-track the rebuilding of public infrastructure. With the ground heavily saturated and regional weather patterns remaining highly unpredictable, emergency personnel have issued a strict series of safety directives for all residents in East Tennessee and surrounding border areas. Turn around. Don't drown. This remains the single most important rule. 6 inches of fast-moving water can knock an adult off their feet, and 12 inches of rushing water can easily float or displace a small passenger car. Never attempt to cross a flooded road under any circumstances. Maintain strict situational awareness. Keep a weather radio active, download reliable local news applications, and ensure mobile emergency alert systems are fully turned on to receive real-time updates from the NWS. Respect official road closures. Do not move, drive around, or ignore emergency barricades set up by law enforcement or TDOT. These blockades are put in place because the road ahead is either deeply submerged or structurally compromised. Avoid flood contact. Floodwaters carry high concentrations of hazardous materials, including agricultural fertilizers, raw sewage, sharp wooden or metallic debris, and compromised electrical wiring. Keep children and pets completely away from standing water. As Cocke County begins the arduous process of clearing mud and debris from its streets, the resilience of the local community is once again being put to the test. Authorities are asking the public to remain patient, stay off the roads in affected zones, and allow utility crews and first responders to perform their vital recovery work unimpeded.